and I feel free for the first time.
Hey everyone, I'm Mackayla. Welcome to the Soundtrack of Our Lives podcast. We're going to jump right in with the two hardest questions of all. Who are you and what have you been up to recently?
My name is Morenike, and lately I've been dealing with the Parisian cold for the first time in my life. So yeah, and I'm a musician and I do music.
Yeah, and you put out a song recently, right?
Yes, exactly.
Can you
Yes.
talk us through the process of making that song?
Okay, my first single is called Nobody Knows My Name, and I wrote it a year ago when I used to live in Italy. And the process was actually pretty simple. I had this idea of this melody in my mind. And then I started from there to create the arrangement and to develop this idea. It's a song that talks about the freedom within anonymity, like to feel free where nobody knows you, basically. So yeah, that's the concept behind it.
Is that something that you were feeling in Italy?
Yes, actually, the inspiration was really specific. When I used to live in Rome, I used to sing in different bars. It was like the first time for me. And usually I always had a friend with me for like support.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, one night, none of my friends could come. So it was like the first time for me to sing in a place where I really didn't know anybody, not even in the crowd. And at first I was so scared. I was panic. I didn't want to go. But the shift that really surprised me was that when I started, I actually felt more free than ever since nobody knew me. So, I was I'm still a new performer and I still have to understand a lot of things, but uh, you can really be whatever you want in that moment when you're on
Mm-hmm.
stage, when you're creating. It could be also something a bit more theatrical. And for me, that was the first time when I really understood that. So it was magical, I think.
That's a
Yeah.
really specific experience.
Yes. It's funny because I was talking about this song with my producer, and he did ask me why the meaning of the song, and he was also really surprised by it being so specific. But it was like a more conceptual big thing. It was just like no, a real moment in my life.
Yeah, but that moment itself is a bit conceptual.
Yes, it is. It's really about the how your feelings can change all of a sudden, you really expect something, you're scared, and then maybe it's gonna be cool.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, I think it's hard to understand sometimes when you're scared of something. Is it like your intuition and you're like, no, don't go there? Or maybe you're just being afraid of something that could be really cool.
Yeah. And it's hard to tell which is,
Yeah.
like in the moment, which way it's going.
Mm. Sometimes you can be surprised,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes it's better not to go. It depends.
It's a hard balance.
Yeah, it's hard. Trying to master it.
So, do most of your songs come to you as melodies?
No, that was a specific one. Usually I just start to play the guitar a bit or the piano and I just jam a bit, like just play with it. And usually something grabs my attention and I start to write from there, usually.
Mm-hmm.
But it depends. I have different types of inspiration. Sometimes, yes, it's just like melodies. And it often happens like when I'm around, maybe in the streets. So I have like these recordings on my phone, like you can hear the traffic and stuff. And some way I understand it. So no, it depends.
Mm-hmm. Do you prefer playing guitar or piano more?
It's crazy because I actually studied the piano for like 15, like no, that's a lot, like 13 years of my life. But
Mm-hmm.
I actually prefer to play the guitar. No, it's different. I like to write on the guitar,
Mm-hmm.
but I do really love the feeling of playing the piano. And I really like to play pieces of others on the piano. I prefer. But with the guitar, I like to just play my music.
Do you think that's because you trained on the piano more, and so you're more used to playing other music?
Yes, yes. I did study classical piano and jazz, so it was about reproducing pieces of others, and I feel like I still maybe reconnect that to to that, even though I did write a lot of stuff for piano at some point. Um, what I find cool about the guitar is that it's actually an instrument nobody taught me how to play.
Ooh.
So I kind of feel more free
Hmm.
in some way, without all that background of lessons. I actually
Yeah.
feel more free to express myself, even in a more simple way, I think.
That makes sense then, and that's what you lean to when you're creating new music.
Yeah, without having all that, like for me, the piano still gives me a bit of a heaviness.
Hmm.
It reminds me of my academic studies, and it was really tough. So no, but I do love it. I love it.
Hmm.
Like,
What led you to learning to play the guitar?
oh, I just, like I started to play the piano, then the cello, then I started to sing. At some point, I feel like when you're into this type of journey, you're gonna be curious about also other instruments. So I was always surrounded by musicians, and it was easy to just grab a guitar and try to play. And then I bought my first one because I just I wanted to try.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was really natural. I feel like at some point you kind of see like instruments as a sort of family.
Hmm.
It's not you kind of just want to try. Why not? Um, yeah, it happened.
Are there other instruments that you want to learn how to play?
Yes, of course. I would like to have a nice bass. I used to study cello. I forgot how to play it really well, so I would like to study it again. I would like to get a bit more into more percussions because I can like imagine percussions a lot, but I cannot play them. So that's another world for me. And no, a lot of stuff, like also a lot of instruments from all over the world. Like at my house in Rome, I had this harmonium, which is like a Indian, not piano, but I don't know how you say it in English. We call it fisarmonica, which is when you have the keyboard and you also give air.
Oh, like
What's the name? Or
what? Now I'm blanking on the name.
you know, but it's like on the floor and you have to sit and you give the
Oh,
air, and it's really cool, really magical sound. So yeah, I wish I can like I would never stop to be curious about music. So I feel like I was continue trying stuff.
that's really nice that you're curious about it. You're not, just sticking to one instrument.
No, 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 no. I'm a really curious person. I've always been like this. Like I just want to try new stuff, and I really like to be surprised. Like trying to find for a balance between having a routine in my life and
Hmm.
also stop learning new stuff. It's fun,
Yeah.
I
How do
think.
you make that balance between your life and then creating your music?
Well, like at the end, like I feel like I really am a really curious person, and I always want to learn more and see more. And in some way, the more you learn also about life, the more you can put in your music.
Hmm.
So I think everything is pretty much connected. Also, like by traveling and hearing and tasting new stuff, like you can really open your inspiration to other things, because actually like our imagination, our inspirations can be limitless. Sometimes we put limits on it, but
Hmm.
it could be like really wild. And that's when it comes to then putting certain limits, which is also something I do in my
Hmm.
creative process. Sometimes I like to limit myself so I can focus all of my creativity in that area in some way, because otherwise I would do everything. And it's
That's a unique way of doing it, of limiting through creativity.
yes, yes, maybe like even some structures, and to
Hmm.
be creative in that maybe little limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Also, there are really interesting types of music. Also, when like people write music maybe on one note,
Hmm.
repeated endlessly. And I think that's a cool exercise to grab the best even from little things.
Hmm. So you mentioned like traveling and trying new foods. Do you have a favorite place you've traveled to?
A favorite one. Um, I was lucky but unlucky because when I was really little, like 2, 3 years old,
Hmm.
my mom took me like everywhere, like to India and the South of America. Jamaica, I've been to Jamaica, I've been like in crazy places, but I don't remember.
Hmm.
Crazy. I feel like they left something in me, but I do not
Hmm.
remember. But lately, I really love to go to. I loved to go to Japan like a few years ago to Tokyo. It was great. Also, Senegal was really interesting, and I love being in Paris now. I have to admit that it's a really cool city. Like you can really see a lot of stuff from all over the world in little spaces. That's really cool. But I really want to see all over the world. Like I would really love to go to the desert. That's something I'm really interested in. But I'm curious about everything. Like I think I would just go. I'm just curious, you know. And the world is so full of beautiful things, you know.
How would you say that your love for travel impacts your music?
Oh, it does a lot, you know, like um I do get inspiration from a lot of different types of music in my music. From types of music that I studied and also that I didn't study like academically, but I studied on my own.
Hmm.
Like also studying jazz was really impactful. And also I think like I feel also inspired by places I've never been already, you know.
Hmm.
But you know, when you really get into the music of some countries and some cultures, it's not like you travel there, but you can really get an interesting view of the way they see life, you know. Like I'm
Yeah.
really into Arabic music and North African music a lot, but I've never been there. But I do feel it
Hmm.
really close to me in some way. And yeah, I would love to go to Brazil, for example. That's a beautiful place to discover music. It's incredible. So yeah, it's like a universal curiosity in some way.
Hmm. Do you feel that certain cultures or certain kinds of music impact one song more than another song?
Yes, definitely. I think that, for example, for the last single, I was really inspired by old blues songs. You know, they
Hmm.
have this way, like I describe it as a circular melody. I don't know. It's the only way I feel like I can describe it, like this sort of narrative movement of the melodies.
Hmm.
And really big in storytelling, you know. There was this piece, it was called from Bessie Smith. I think it's St. Louis Blues. As my man's got a heart. Like they had this really cool way to tell stories and this really they didn't even use a lot of words. That's
Hmm.
something I really liked. It was maybe just one phrase, but they stretched it so much that you really got into the meaning of it. Um, but for example, there are other songs more inspired maybe by maybe not, I don't know if I can spoil it, but for the next song, I use this sample of Indian percussions that I really
Hmm.
loved. So for sure, there's a lot of that too. But I also really like R&B music and pop music. So sometimes it just sneaks into it. So yeah, every song has a bit of a major inspiration.
Hmm. So you mentioned new music. Can you share anything about the new music?
Ah, the new single will come out this month. And it's really cool. Like this is more focused on the rhythmic part of my research. As I told you, we used some Indian percussions that I really loved. And yeah, I think at some point, like I'm really excited to put out my more music because I think it will give more of a clear idea of my idea of music. You
Hmm.
know, with just one song, I cannot explain everything, right? But when all of them will be out, it will feel like a bit of a mm, little world of
Yeah.
with some really precise elements, I think.
With having had Nobody Knows My Name for 1 year, what does it feel like now that it's out there for everybody to hear?
Well, it's really cool. Like, first of all, I'm so excited that I really like the music, which is really cool. You know, like it's I don't have that feeling. I hear a lot from a lot of artists that, you know, they publish the song and you don't like it anymore. It's been there for a year. I don't understand, but I'm really proud of this project. And it's cool, like now you can see the other part of music, which is the only part that the musician, the author cannot experience, which is
Hmm.
I think the first reaction. Like, for example, I had a review that really surprised me because it was the person who wrote that was talking about the feeling of hearing it for the first time. And I thought, wow, I will never be able to do this with my music, you know, because you wrote it, you gave birth to it. So how can you hear it for the first time? Like, even if you wait a bit, it will always be your song, you know. So it's cool to see this part of music, which is so important. That you can get it only if you publish it.
Are you excited to put out some more music?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I'm so
exciting.
excited. Yeah, it was a big work. You know, it was a really intense year for me. I wrote this EP I recorded, but I didn't live here in Paris. So I recorded like in 2 weeks with a backpack. I was like hosted by a friend, and I
Wow.
had to move. It was a really stressful year. So like actually the music was not hard to make. But everything that was around it was so intense for me. Then now I'm just like, let's publish this music. Let's go.
That sounds really stressful.
Yeah. It's funny. Now, this was like the most stressful year of my life. Like, it was cool because like I had this goal because, you know, it's not that easy to move to Paris and find a house and everything. And so, and it was the first time for me. And but I was like so focused, I never stopped. And then like a few weeks ago, like I had my Christmas break, and I kind of was like, oh, what happened? What happened? Because I never got to stop and really think about it. I always had something to do. But sometimes you rest and you're like, wow, this was a year.
Wow, I did that.
It's funny, like it's crazy. I think that every month something strange happened.
Hopefully, this year is less chaotic for you.
I hope so. I don't know. I just take life out. I can't even say anything. Like, let's see. I hope so. Like, I hope for more um beautiful stress, you know, like the
Yes.
live shows or creating new music, and not something that I'm like, oh, if I'm not gonna do it, I'm gonna have no house in Paris and be in the streets.
Yes, we don't want that.
We don't want that anymore.
That's a good goal for the year.
Feel more chill, okay? Yes. Just beautiful stress, please.
Yes. That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, you know, that stress that nobody's gonna get hurt, but it still keeps you entertained because, you know, I think you can be really addicted to stress, like to a little drama, you know, to feel entertained sometimes.
Before I ask the last question, is there anything else you want to mention or talk about today?
Oh, today. No, nothing in particular. Yes, I'm really excited for the live shows. I'm really thinking about it a lot. I would like it to be interesting and cool experience. So yeah, I wanted to share my excitement for live shows.
For
Yes.
somebody who hasn't seen you live, what could they expect?
What could I expect? Like, I really like, my idea will be to take what happens inside my room and give it to other people, because I think it could be a really intimate but intense moment that always feels really special to me. Like, even when I play with other people, like for example, I had my saxophonist here till like a few hours ago. I think it can create a really magical atmosphere, and I will be really happy to be able to recreate that in live shows, you know. Difficult. I would like to work also, like, I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but I would really like to maybe play like in the center of a place, and maybe have people around and not have this stage. And I would really like to try. But let's see. Depends on the place.
Okay, so our last question is, what is the soundtrack of your life?
Well, of my life, I couldn't tell just one song, but for the last year was this beautiful song called Nomad by, I don't know, Bedouin Burger. And they collaborated with this beautiful singer, and I listened to this song like endless times in all this journey. It was really motivating. It was cool because like I left my house in Rome last year, and I used to listen a lot to this song, but it is in Arabic, so I didn't understand what the song was about. I know like the title was Nomad, so I got the sense, But then I looked for the translation, and the singer always says this phrase, which is Mali Beit, which means I have no home. It was interesting too. I was like, oh, I listened to this like all the year without knowing, but I felt like it did speak to me in some way.
Yeah,
That
that's
moment.
the cool thing about music is you don't necessarily need to understand what they're saying to feel what they're saying.
Exactly. That's the most magical thing for me. And that's something that I think the conservatory helped me to start doing. I remember my teacher used to give us to study pieces in Portuguese, which I don't speak. But that was a nice start to listen to music that I didn't understand, because by being bilingual, I always spoke English and Italian, and that was the main music I used to consume. But like this, I just expanded like everything. Now I love listening to music I don't understand. I don't care, because I do understand it a bit.
Yeah. You can understand it without understanding it.
Yeah, you get the feeling, it's this magical universal language. And then the words, I feel like they just enhance what the music is already talking about. Not really focus on words with music. Like I like when there's a good lyric, of course, but it's not the main thing for me.
So, for all of our listeners who want to stay updated on you, hear the new music when it comes out, maybe see you live, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram, and I will update everything that's gonna happen in the next month. But I can tell already that there are gonna be a lot of beautiful things happening.
That's
So yeah, I'm
exciting.
excited. Yeah.
And probably scary.
Yeah. Like good stress.
Beautiful stress.
Beautiful stress. Yes. That'll be a
Okay.
new
So,
thing.
yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Thank you very much for giving me your time.
Just have a nice rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Nobody knows, nobody knows my name tonight, and I feel free for the first time.